Yeah.
So, I started going.
Plus 50 cents for the
dollar
for the newspaper.
Well,
What would postage be?
Yeah, I get that.
Please come to order. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have the mother of all head colds, so I'm going to have to do it again so I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. This is meeting number 167, if I remember correctly, at TMG, the MAC group. And I'm not sure where Mark Cobb is, but I'm hoping he'll show up eventually, because he was supposed to be running the meeting today. Let's see, Mr. Kartner? Mr. Kartner, do we have any visitors today?
Excuse me, sir? No.
We have no
Not unless we
visitors?
saw Bill Jacobson.
Okay, we have no visitors today. Okay, so we don't have to worry about an embarrassment then. Do any of the members have any news items they want to make available to the rest of the membership? Nobody knows any news? Well, I noticed something. There's a company called Sonnet, S-O-N-N-E-T, and they have iPod batteries for like $34, replacement iPod batteries. And if I remember correctly, this is a do-it-yourself kit for $34. And they send it out to you, and it has the video on how to open up your iPod and little tools to help you open up your iPod. Yes,
I was
Mr.
just speaking yesterday, the day before, with Jason over at Weingarten.
Yes, sir.
And I know he's going to be giving a pretty good deal on the towels. I want to say up to like $100 off some of the towels.
Okay.
So they unfortunately weren't able to send anybody to the meeting today, so I thought I would mention it.
Your homework assignment,
My
yes,
personal one?
your homework assignment is to talk to either Jason or Heather, get the details on the deal, email it to the leadership.
I asked
so
him to email it to me, and he didn't have the opportunity yet.
Okay.
So, yes.
If he doesn't send you an email, your homework assignment includes, yes, going to the place, getting his attention, getting the details. Yes, Mr. Kirkner.
Mr. Cobb is in the novice room giving instruction.
I can't hear him.
Mr. Cobb is in the novice room giving instruction.
Ah, okay. Mr. Cobb is in religious instruction?
He left early. Emergency back inspection.
Ah, okay. All right, any other items of interest in terms of news?
10.4.3 update, yeah?
Ah, okay. There was an update released to Tiger, 10.3.
10.4.3.
10.4.3.
Rumored to have.
And 10.4.4 is, they're working on it.
10.4.3 is rumored to have anywhere between 500 and 1,000 bug fixes.
He also had problems with it opening and running, so.
You ever seen one that doesn't?
Okay, so two issues going on here. The current update, 10.4.3, had fixes in it. It also had some problems with
The
it.
combo.
The new one, which is coming out, and it'll probably come out just before Christmas if they follow their usual tracking path, will be 10.4.4, and it's for Tiger. So if you're not running Tiger, just go back to sleep for a minute. That's supposed to be really wonderful. It will fix everything. Actually, we are sort of blessed. If you saw what happens over on the Windows side, I personally was the victim of Windows patches the other day. Day after election, I'm getting my tags renewed because I forgot to do it on my birthday, so I was violating the law by driving a vehicle without valid tags.
We are recording
And
this,
I get up
by
to
the way.
counter. Huh?
We are recording this.
Yeah, okay.
However, I
Whatever.
can
The computer was there. I get up to the counter at the BMV, and I hand all my paperwork, and she's hitting the keyboard, the wheel's turning, but the hamster ain't moving. And it's like, oh, they're down. So after about 30 minutes, I said, fine, just give me my paperwork back. I'll come visit you tomorrow. When I came in the next day and I asked her what had happened, she said, it wasn't us, it was the folks in Columbus. They had patched their Windows servers, and apparently the patches caused problems. And I went, oh. Yeah, that's why we didn't patch our stuff on election day, because we wanted to be able to get the results out to you folks. Okay, in any case, any other news items? Once, go twice.
The new
Okay.
iPod's out,
Say again?
the new iPod.
Ah, yeah, there's a new video iPod. Well, okay, let me just go with it, okay? I actually got my hands on one. One of my coworkers bought one of these new video iPods, and I kept thinking, why would you want to watch TV on this little bitty screen? Let me tell you something. That screen is so clear and so crisp, it actually is enjoyable watching a video on it. And he's ripped some movies onto it. Yeah, I'm being recorded again, okay? Ripping DVDs and filing and encryption, that's against the law. It's illegal. But he's got
What's your friend's name?
some instructional things on it. And when he goes shopping with his wife, you know, and he's got to be in the lingerie department or the dress department, he has to stay there. He's got something to entertain himself. And it actually is a usable product, you know, and I was really surprised about it. Okay, and then the other thing to remember is even if you don't want one with the video capabilities, because the downside with the video one is it doesn't do firewire connections, it only does USB 2 connections to the computer. When they bring out a new one, you know me, I'm cheap, tight with the buck. You buy the previous model. So I put my birthday money together and I'm going to go ahead and buy the previous model. It's got a color screen, the one that they called the photo iPod. Because these eyes, you know, the grayscale screen on the iPod just doesn't cut it for me anymore. With color, I'll be able to read it more easily. You know, it's all about ease of use, making things simpler for ourselves. Okay.
There's also the defer place on the Apple website is a good place to get deals on.
It's true. If you ever go out to the Apple website and you click on the Store tab, there's another tab in there which is their refurbished equipment. These are things that have been returned for whatever reason. They have refurbished them. They sell them again. It has a warranty on it. Usually anywhere from a 5 to 10% lessening of the cost of the equipment. So
And
it's
you can do Apple Care on them.
and you can do Apple Care on it. That's correct. So that you've got something that's going to be working for you.
I know there was also local places that have some new iPods. and
Okay,
stuff.
say it again. Be
I know
loud.
that there are also local places that still have some of the old photo iPods on as well.
That's the other thing. Again, thank you for the reminder. We have the local vendors of iPods. You have the Apple Store down in Cincinnati. You have Weingarten Gallery that's run by Jason and Heather. You have Mac Depot run by Greg Hertig, and I don't remember his wife's name. It'll come to me after I get halfway home. And you've got that wonderful little iPod store that the
Yes.
Weingarten folks have up at Fairfield Commons.
And if there's anything that is wanted there that is not there, they can bring it there within a
Yeah.
day.
Okay, so, you know, remember, buy local too. All right, yes, sir.
On that note, I was going to comment that we got something from Weingarten for our son at Bowling Green, and we called in about 2 o'clock, and they had it to him the next day about 2 o'clock, which, you know, I probably, you know, and I think the other place can do it too, Mac Depot, but it was nice to know that can be done.
Normally, we make it a policy not to comment negatively or positively about the various vendors, because we try and keep, you know, but I'm going to break that for just a minute. Under the previous owner in Weingarten Gallery, quality of repairs, quality of just the quality of service didn't seem to be where it needed to be. Under the new owner, the new management, I've seen a very, very significant increase in attention to what the consumer needs and wants. So I know I'm violating our neutrality, but it's important that I share what I see that's going on out there.
Since we're talking about products, has anybody used the printer refills in any of the
Okay, the question is, has anybody used any of the printer refill services that are either up at Dayton Mall or Fairfield Commons? What response do you have?
I've used mail order from a place called Print Pal.
Okay,
Had very good luck with them. Cartridges are between $6 and $8 a piece.
okay. How about local? Have you
I've
tried
not
any
used
local
anybody
ones?
local.
Has anybody tried the folks up at Dayton Mall? Nobody has. Have you?
Tell me more, I didn't know they were there.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I may be wrong on this. I think they're in one of the little island things in the middle of Dayton Mall. I don't think they have a storefront per se. I'll try and get some more information on it. I've got to go out to Dayton Mall. Oh, you have info on it?
I know in Fairfield Mall, the printer place is on the lower level by the front entrance next to, across from Banana Republic.
Okay, is that the same folks that are at Dayton Mall? Different?
I think so. They get this whole island-like motif. This whole their signage looks really weird.
Okay.
It's really colorful. But yeah, I think it is the same. I'm trying to remember where they are out there.
Okay. I'm assuming that all of you are cost conscious about the cost of printer cartridges now?
Just bought two and I had to take out a loan.
Yeah.
Just realized
Well, I
that
think
some
it's
printers-
interesting that, you know, you can buy a new printer
Yeah, almost.
for the cost of like 2 cartridges
Right.
now.
One thing I will point out, there are some printers that use specialized ink. For example, Epson, some of their printers use the advertised DuraBrite,
Right.
which has special technologies, and you buy ink from those places, they're not going to give you those benefits.
Okay, so anyway, basically, if I sense the mood here, if I should collect more information about these refill services and see, you know, okay. If any of you tried the refill service, let us know what the results were, okay?
Do they have to be with the original ink, or could they be used by a generic, with a generic,
I think they refill whatever you bring in.
whatever you bring
Yeah,
in?
Oh, your cartridges
yeah. They refill your cartridges while you wait.
For roughly the order of how much money?
I don't know. That's why we were asking. Okay, moving right along. I guess we should move on to,
Question?
let's do for sale and wanted first. Anybody got anything for sale or that they want something? Yes, Jim?
I have a couple items that I'd like to either sell or just give away. I have an iPhone G3600.
Jim, be upstanding, come up here so they can hear you.
I have an iPhone G3600 that has 384 meg of RAM. It has a 20 gig hard drive on it that I don't use.
You're gonna have to say that all over again.
It's the one that's over there. I don't think it works, but it used to. It's a G3600 and I'd like $300 for it. I have a Radio Shack digital photo viewer. It hasn't been used. I'd like $40 for that. What it is, it has a little 2.5-inch color LCD on it. And you can put in your camera's memory card and view a slideshow on a standalone LCD. I have a Palm router, 4-port wired router that I used to use. I don't use it anymore. I don't need it. Anyone can have that for free. I have Cambridge Soundworks satellite speakers, little gray cubes. I don't use those anymore. I think they work. Anybody can have those to toy around with them for free. And then I also have, not related to computers, but I also have a Sony 13-inch Vega TV that's only 2 years old. It has component video inputs in. I'd like $100 for that. It has a clicker on it too. Thank you.
Question, did you bring the equipment with you?
It's either in the room or in my car.
Okay. What I need you to do is, after the meeting's over, and you dispose of some of the equipment, send me an email with what you still have, and then I'll send that back out to the members, okay? Did you get my email about those 2 OS 9 systems?
I did, yes.
Okay, is that all right with you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else? Mr. Georges?
I have a USB hub. It's a Mac Alley iHub Junior 2. It's a high-speed mini hub. It's a powered hub. It works great. The reason I'm selling it is because it keeps waking my G5 up out of deep sleep. It'll wake it up, and then the G5 goes to sleep, and it'll wake it up, and it'll go to sleep, and it'll do this about 3 or 4 times. So if you don't care about deep sleep, this works great. I'm looking to get $8 for it.
Sold. How about
Okay.
$8?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have a question. I'm interested in buying an external DVD burner. I have an iMac G3 left, an iBook, and I was wondering if anybody has any recommendations on which way to go on
Be
that.
careful, you may not be able to use one on a G3
Okay,
because the processing head, most of the burners have a processing
make change?
requirement.
okay.
In some cases, I've got a G4 Tower gray and white. Not enough processing,
Oh, really?
it's a 400 megahertz.
Thank you, sir.
It'll write, or it'll read
Yeah.
as a player, but it will not burn.
This was the tail end of the G3s, and it has a 500 megahertz speed.
I think you'll have to look at the actual burners to see what the requirements are. Most likely they're G4 and higher
Okay, for external.
for the external.
I think that the C requires 500 megahertz.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah.
G4 or G3, 500?
It just said, I think you have to have at least 10.2. It's just 10.2,
Oh,
500.
you gotta be real careful because my brother bought one and it won't work on,
Yeah, that's why
So-
I didn't want to.
like I said, it'll be good for playback, but not recording.
Another thing, you may burn it, they don't, you won't play on that machine, you can play on it also.
Question, was it the hardware or your brother? That wouldn't work.
Actually, it is the hardware this time.
Just checking.
It was a minimum of 500 megahertz G4, so.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. This is where Mark and I throw ourselves on the punji sticks. Help desk, anybody having problems? Oh, no, couldn't be
Yes.
you. Not
Not
your
the,
router.
no, not the wireless router.
Okay,
That thing's working fine, I bought another one. Got rid of my SMC and bought a Belkin and it's working beautifully.
And I have his SMC and it's working fine too.
He's using wire, I was using it wireless, so I don't know. if-
He wasn't your tech support in this whole thing. If so, I'm seeing a conspiracy.
Yeah, he was my tech support. Anyway, him and Bill, but, my problem is, since that downloading of the new, OS X 10.4.3 that happened last week,
okay.
all kinds of funny things have been happening to my computer. I can't load my camera. I can't open a .dmg. I can't, what else can I do? Oh, whenever it's gone to sleep and I wake it back up and I've got password protection, I start typing my password. The little dots don't appear, this cursor stays right where it's at. In other words, you can't do it. Have to shut it off. When it comes in from an off position, then it'll take my password and open up.
Okay.
So those are the weird things. I downloaded, at someone's recommendation, name will remain anonymous, I downloaded the combo
Update,
for update for 10.4.3, the new one,
the combo.
the combo, and redid it all, and it still has the exact same problems. I do have Apple Care, so I can take it to, who can I take
You
it
can
to?
take it, or you can just call them and they will troubleshoot you with you over the phone.
I'd rather take it to somebody who knows what they're doing. But does, like Mac Depot or Weingarten, are they official Apple people who can
Yes.
take it and
Yeah.
fix it? Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Unless you have any answers, let me know.
Did you refer? What I wanted to just say was just what I think happened, all right? I know sometimes all we want is the solution, but I'm one of these people, I have to know why.
Yes.
What I think happened was that when it attempted to update your operating system, somehow, some way, something didn't finish correctly. That's why one of the things that I do whenever I've updated something, I go and I launch my console application, which is in the utilities folder, and I then look at the log for software update.
Either show them, because you're now stepping off into that weird, wonderful world.
Okay.
Now that you're here, okay, just so you know, I am totally clogged. I can't hear worth a damn. So you get to hear.
He's your repeater.
You're my repeater, okay? You know, like we used to do for Bill Hagenbaum when he'd be here. Okay. All right, I'm going to my utilities
Both
folder.
topics.
Utilities folder. Okay, the utilities folder is inside the applications folder. And I go to the program called Console. That's Console. I'm going to launch it. Console lets me read all of these various logs. Unix, which is what's running on your Mac OS X machine, logs everything. That's because there's so many things that can go wrong. All right, and inside these logs, I clicked on the log icon, and then I get a little sidebar, and I'm going to go into, I believe it's, let's see. It's been a while since I did some of this stuff. Crash reporter, disk utility. Okay, let's just, I haven't updated lately, so I don't have a software update log. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so I went into library/logs. I clicked on software update log. This shows me what I did last, and if there were any error messages, they'd be found here. So looking at this, I can see that these are the updates that I've applied to this machine recently. And you'll notice they were all done on the 30th and or the 11th of November, because I managed to totally screw up my laptop by misusing a utility called TechTool Pro. I mean, I fried it, so I had to do a complete reinstall. But if I had had errors in doing anything, they would show up here. Now, for the normal person, it may not give you information that you yourself could use to fix things, but it would certainly give a Apple Tech the information they need to know what to fix. Okay? So let me just repeat it real quick.
How far back do you go?
Whenever I've done an update to my machine, when I'm finished, I go to Console, which is inside the Utilities folder, which is inside the Applications folder. I then would click on my Log tab. I would then go into Library Logs at the machine level. Click on the Software Update log, and then this would be a listing of what occurred, and if there were any errors, they would show up in there. Let's see if I've got something where I can show you an error.
So it'll spell out error. You'll know that by looking
Let me
at it.
look for something here. Okay, here's an example. Something was going on with Acrobat Reader, and it came up with system, user interface server, normally Q menu extra would not have been loaded as a menu extra, and then it gave me the same error message again, and then it gave me can't create CMAP Adobe Identity UC S2, and then that error repeated a couple times, and then it finally launched another application within the bundle, and it finally worked. Let's see if I've got like an AOL log that would.
What do you do if it shows an error, Bill?
With me,
What would you?
I usually am able to figure out what it is, and then I can figure out how to fix it. What I would recommend for normal people is when you're talking to the Apple Tech, or you're talking to that significant other who provides you with your system support, have them look at it, and it gives them an idea of where things are going.
What about non-normal people?
Know that it's there and know that there's a problem.
Right.
And the
Know that
things
it's
that are
there,
going
know that
screwy
there's a
might be caused
problem.
by that.
And if you see a lot of errors with a software update, that usually would indicate your best route is to reinstall the OS and then reapply a combo updater.
And I did reinstall the combo updater, so that didn't help my problem whatsoever.
Did you do the
Yeah.
disk permissions on it?
Yes, I did the disk permissions repair.
You know, I found also sometimes it helps is doing a safe boot.
Okay.
I had to do a safe boot because
Okay.
the update comes down as a .dmg file and I couldn't open it. So a friend of mine over here to the left of the camera showed me how to do with an external drive, doing a boot up on the external drive, and then I opened it there.
The fact that you had all of those things that weren't working, that says to me that you had a variety of either plist or ktex that somehow did not propagate to your machine appropriately. So your system was not all that it should be. That's what we would call corrupted.
because the ability to open up a DMG, that's a finder function. And that's, you know, you're at the core level of the stuff. And if that doesn't work, that means your print services aren't going to work, and there's a
Right,
whole bunch of
printer
other
doesn't
stuff that isn't going to work.
I can't get to the printer. That's another thing I didn't say. Can't print a
Okay.
thing.
Anybody else with problems this month? Yes, Tim?
I've noticed over the last month or two, Safari's capabilities going downhill. Lots of web pages are not shown properly. They get the little blue boxes with the white question mark in it all over. I've been having to use Firefox in order to see web pages. I don't know what's going on, but Safari is not what it once was.
There's a tech note that Apple put out on when Safari starts to really slow down, or when the redraw really slows down. If I remember correctly, they have you within Safari. Let me find Safari here. I do apologize. I am not at my best and brightest today. Okay. First thing to start at is get Safari up and running. Go up to the Safari menu. Select the Reset Safari. Okay, that's the first one. That clears out all the cache files. It clears out all sorts of normal overhead that the application creates. Then you would do a quit.
And preferences.
Okay, then you would go in from Finder and go into your user folder. So we would go, I'm double clicking on the hard drive here. So I'm opening up a window. And in this case, the user that's running the machine is William Herrick. So I would click on the William Herrick. And then you would go into the library. And then I'm going to make it a list view so it's a little bit easier to see all this stuff. Typically, two places you would go into. One would be application support, and the other one would be, excuse me, further down. I'll get to it in just a second. I usually don't use Safari that much because of, okay, Safari doesn't have it in application support, so let's say I'd be down in preferences then. Preferences, and then we would scroll down to right there. There's your Com, Apple, Safari P list, and you would delete that. Sometimes the P lists go corrupt. You would delete that, and then you would reboot your machine and relaunch Safari. Let me see if I can send you a copy of that tech note, because it gives a list of like 3 or 4 things you would manually delete. And it's important that you know what to delete and what not to delete, because if you throw the wrong thing away, you throw your bookmarks away. The only thing worse than a person, the sound coming from a person who has deleted their bookmarks, is the sound coming from a person who has lost their cell phone.
Why didn't you put that on the distribution?
Yeah. He didn't hear you.
The other thing, just let me,
Why don't you go ahead and send that out to everybody?
okay, send it out to everybody.
Deleting P-list doesn't really hurt anything substantial, right?
No,
Safari
it rebuilds
tech note to
itself.
everybody.
Mark, shouldn't you be in the little oval in the corner of the screen?
Oh, no, I should be running across while underneath.
Yeah.
At maxscriptor.net, they have a script called Safari Cleanup that will do everything that you just said. You just run a little script and it will do all that.
Where's that at?
At maxscriptor.net. Do a search for Safari.
You want to go ahead and just send me an email with that URL?
Sure.
And that way I've got it, I
Why
can
don't
put
you
it
just
together as a package
Why don't you
for
send
it.
it the script?
No, send me the URL, because that way it's less.
Okay.
It's a short script.
And if you want to make sure you protect your bookmarks and things of that sort.
But the other thing I wanted to say is, sometimes you'll find, oh, I'm sorry.
I was just saying that in one sense of protection, to make sure you never lose or delete all your bookmarks, .mac, iSync. It's a great tool because what it allows you to do is basically synchronize all your Safari bookmarks online so you can access them at any time from any computer that's on the web and you won't lose them.
And if you're running multiple computers with different.
If you're running multiple computers, great way to keep your address book, your mail settings, your bookmarks, and a lot of other things all synchronized within all your computers, all your Macs.
The other thing I wanted to say is the internet is a regulated, non-regulated space. Okay? And so whether somebody putting up a web page follows a particular standard or not is really up to them. So one of the other things that I found is that there are certain websites that do not work well with certain browsers. For example, if you are running Microsoft Internet Explorer from the Macintosh, and you went out to MSN over the last 3 weeks, you would find that it would not let you talk to the Microsoft website using the Microsoft Internet Explorer because they changed things on their website and they no longer support Internet Explorer on the Mac. So what I do now is I basically have a stable of browsers that I have. The first one, of course, that I use for just my regular surfing is Safari. The next one that I keep around is Internet Explorer, because there are some legacy websites that if you don't have Macintosh Internet Explorer, it won't work. But then the other three that I have is Netscape Communicator and Firefox, and the one that is now free called Opera. And what I find with Opera is that it works very well with any website that has Java components in it, and it really is probably the most compatible of all at this point. And again, the name of it is Opera. Yes?
And how do you get to it? To download it?
You would download it either going to one of the tracking sites like Version Tracker, or you would go, what I do, since I'm lazy, is I just launch Safari, and then I go up into the Google search bar, and then I type in Opera. Sorry. Wait for it to load first. Opera.
You get Puccini or what?
That too.
We have released it in the past, and it's this one. The URL is www.opera.com. And again, they tout themselves as being the fastest browser on earth. I find it is an extremely well-developed, very capable browser.
How many hours can you take to download it?
If you're on dial-up, I would wait for the next CD from the club. We'll have it on it. We're going to make it part of the standard list. You know, what can I say? You know, the software keeps getting larger and larger. And that's one reason why we keep doing the CDs for the club members.
I got a pretty silly question.
There is no such thing as a silly
Yeah,
question.
it is. What is the reason, purpose, or whatever for .org, .ed, .com?
Okay. Those are what are called domains. Okay. Now, I can give you a really geeky computer explanation about why you have different domains, and we'd get into various directory services. But basically, you need to have an address for the websites, and you need to be able to somehow organize that. And what they've done is, if it's a commercial site, it's a .com. If it's an organization that may not be commercial, it'd be a .org. If it's an educational institution, it'd be a .edu. Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay.
And .gov is government.
And,
Yeah, .gov.
.mil, military.
Yeah, .mil. .mil. Okay.
European governments have national dots, like Italy is .it.
Yep, but see, that's added as another subset on the name. So for example, one of my favorite sites to go for computer news is the Register. Well, the Register, just
It's better to show than to tell, especially since my voice is going. Okay, I'm doing a Google search because I'm being lazy here, but okay, here's the register. I'm clicking on the Google link. Should come up in a minute. The name is www.theregister.co.uk. So they took the .com, shortened it to just .co, and then they put UK on the end for United Kingdom. Okay, that's how you take something and you extend it to be international. And their logo is the vulture. The register, for fighting the hand that feeds IT is their motto. And this is where people like me go for a, it's sort of like, the tabloid journals that you see at the newspaper stands. This is sort of the electronic version of it for geeks. They'll do things like Webmasters Defy Litigious Smurfs, or BOP, that stands for Bastard Operator from Hell. Another acronym for system admin types. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Okay, I think we've pretty much finished up help desk at this point, unless we have somebody who's really in pain. We have somebody in pain right over there. Go ahead.
You guys are gonna lose it. We wanted Xbox 360, and we're looking to get a different router, because I think we need to get a more powerful router, because we're getting error messages on the Xbox and it's not seeing the router. And plus it also makes the Mac cough. It's just been happening lately. I wanted to know what router to purchase for when this thing comes in.
Okay, first question. I have never seen, handled, or experienced an Xbox. Do we have anybody here who has an Xbox? Anybody know what the port speeds are on them?
Yeah, it's the port speed that I need to make faster.
Okay, what I'm going to do is this. Send me an email with what the model of the Xbox that you have is, because I believe there's different models.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you got one of the new ones, okay?
Yeah, it hasn't arrived yet. We're expecting it shortly.
And you have a router now, or you have a switch?
We have a D-Link right now.
D-Link should work with it just fine. Yes?
When my son had one, we had something, we bought a bridge.
What the
Okay.
bridge did is it basically made it wireless.
Yeah,
because
and
you
that
can't-
seemed to work, yeah.
Well, you can't get a standard Wi-Fi card to stick into like an Xbox. It basically, commonly they just have an Ethernet port. The bridge basically made it wireless for them to run the wires all the way across.
Yeah, that's not a problem for us.
Right, that's not necessarily what they're looking for. Commonly, I would assume most of them are either going to have a 10 or 100 base T on it.
They're not doing gig on them, are they?
No.
Okay.
No, we're the only ones doing gigabit.
Okay.
Commonly. But as far as I know, that should hook up to any standard.
Yeah. That's why I'm surprised that D-Link
Any
wasn't
standard
working.
10100 network. If you're having problems with the router even before the Xbox is hooked up to it, then, first thing I recommend is usually do a complete factory reset, get it back to factory specs in terms of its settings, see if that helps.
I haven't messed with the settings on it.
You never play with them?
No, I never messed with the settings on it. We just hooked it up and it's been running fine, but all of a sudden we're having.
How old?
Oh gosh, it's less than a year old.
Anyway, we need to keep moving on, so what I'm going to say is, maybe at the break, talk with Dan about it, but send me an email with the model number in that, and I will attempt to learn something about Xbox 360s.
That's a new one with PowerPC chip, with the G5 chip. It's the Microsoft box with the G5
Okay.
chip.
It just, we've never, this is going to sound so strange, but we don't have, my household has never had cable TV. We've never had a standalone game machine, including even Pong. It's like Atari. We've never had anything like that in our house. We have these things called bookcases with large amounts of bound books. In fact, there's books stacked on the floor, and that's what the kids basically.
Can't they get paper cuts though in that?
That's true. That's true. But we own stock in Johnson & Johnson. We have lots and lots of Band-Aids. But we are definitely a strange household in this country. Yes, Chuck.
So you're still in the analog era.
I was wanting some help on networking some computers together. Can I send you an email and maybe you can get me in touch with somebody else that would know the Linux,
Yeah,
Apple?
we've got a brave soul who's starting to learn a little bit about Linux, and you've never told me which distribution. We're talking about SOSA or Mandrake or?
It's a Mandrake 10.0.
Okay, so he's going to go ahead and send me what his questions are. If we've got anybody who's playing with Linux that could participate in this discussion, that would be a good thing.
I'm trying to get the Mac systems networked to this to use hard drive space on Linux.
Okay. All right, I think that's it for help desk at this point. All right, Dan, you remember what your homework assignment is, wherever you are?
He just walked out.
Okay, you probably got to go.
I'm doing it now.
We're going to take a break now for about 5-10 minutes. After the break here, I'm going to do a presentation on wikiwebs. The display to sleep and how long, whether it puts the hard drive to sleep or not. Okay, typically, normal setting on a desktop machine would be if nobody's touched the keyboard or moved the mouse for an hour, it's going to put the machine to sleep. For display, I normally have it set for 15 minutes, but because this is a presentation Mac, and I get talking and I don't get to the keyboard, I leave it set a little bit higher. But normally it'd be 15 minutes. Then the other one, we'll go back to show all. In the desktop and screensaver tab, excuse me, let me back up there. I'm going too fast. This one, desktop and screensaver. Okay, and you have two tabs. You have desktop and you have screensaver. When you're on screensaver, it has how many minutes before it starts the screensaver? I usually have it set for 5 minutes. I'll set it for even less if it's in a work setting because I have administration rights for certain things. And I have the screensaver so that if the screensaver starts and somebody touches the keyboard, they have to know my password to get it to stop. Because that stuff, I gotta, restrict access to that machine. But this is what I would consider to be a good setup. 5 minutes for the screensaver, 15 minutes for it to sleep the display, and an hour for the machine. And as long as it's not a server, I set it to sleep the hard drive also. Okay?
Bill, how did you have to turn it off to activate it, Bill?
Go ahead.
Two comments. One, you can go up to the battery symbol and do the same thing.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, you have this automatic refreshing of your computer that you mentioned in your maintenance dialogue in September.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you're on this mode, it puts your machine to sleep.
Correct.
So at 3:30 in the morning, you can't refresh the computer.
Correct.
So what's your advice now?
In an enterprise setting, you have a tech running Apple Remote Desktop who pushes out those Unix commands, and you're doing, one area of the group of the enterprise at a time. Editorial art, you run all the maintenance routines on them on a Monday morning. Advertising, classified, you do them on a Tuesday morning. So that's how you would do it there.
Now, the way I do it is I go change my location, so I make the 3:30 in a different time zone, and the machine does it that way. Is that
What I find, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but for most of the normal users in the group, they don't leave their machines on all the time. They turn them on when they're going to use them, they turn them off when they're not going to use them. They don't let them run 24 hours a day. Now again, with a server, I would not have the hard drive sleeping, and I would not have the computer sleep, but I would have the display sleep. And then those maintenance routines will run when they're supposed to.
You have to activate it by turning it off, or does it automatically when you leave it?
It doesn't just then. It's not like Windows where you say, okay, you say apply and then you say, okay. It's not, no, this is Mac.
Will you repeat how to make sure the maintenance function is done at 3 in the morning and whenever it does it? What do you have to do with settings to allow that to happen?
Going back to Energy Saver,
Just run on it.
change that,
Never.
the top one. Put computer to sleep, never. So the display will sleep,
Oh, I see, but the computer
but
does.
the computer doesn't,
Oh, okay, thanks.
okay?
Right.
Okay.
I'm still confused as to why you put your computer to sleep. What's the pros and cons of
Okay.
doing so?
Less wear and tear on the hardware, and less energy usage. When the computer's running in the sleep mode, it uses much less energy than when it's going full bore. Especially with laptops. That's where the main concern is in terms of power usage. Many of the people I know that have laptops, they never shut them off, they just sleep them. Okay. Because then they just open it up, hit the space bar, and boom, they're up and they're going. They don't have to go through the boot process.
I mean, I keep mine on 24 hours a day.
Then with you, the only one you want to worry about is the display because you don't want to get burn-in on your monitor or your LCD panel.
All right, that's how I'm set now.
Yeah, so it's good for you. Yeah.
Is there a difference on the life of the unit?
Say again?
Is there a difference on the life of the, like a desktop unit? If you don't put it to sleep?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if that is.
Oh.
That's a difficult question because it's like, I've got Mac Pluses that have been running for 20 years and they still are cranking along. And then I've got some Dell equipment that, you know, was bought 6 months ago and it's dead in the water. It a lot depends on how it was manufactured, what capacitors they put in it. But generally, rule of thumb, I mean, Macintoshes, they keep running until you kill them.
However, disk drives don't, or
Right.
hard drives don't.
Well, anything that's electromechanical, like a hard drive, there's a mean time to failure. It'll tell you how many, you know, hours of operation you're going to have before it dies.
Also, less power going through the unit means less heat in your processor. Things like heat is never good for your processor, heat is never good for your system. When you put it to sleep, it's not going to produce as much heat.
And then there's the whole debate about whether you should turn them off or not turn them off. You know, there are people who ascribe to the theory that when you turn it off and you turn it on, you get that sudden rush of power through everything that's going to cause, you know, wear and tear over time. Where the others say, well, you know, if you just sleep the machine, there's less wear and tear on the machine, so it'll last longer.
Yeah, but in my experiences, I've had machines that have gotten, and you have to.
Again, you know, I suggest you follow the Burger King approach. Do it your way. Find what fits you best in your circumstances and you do it that way.
What's the difference between sleeping the computer and sleeping the display when you click, put the hard disk to sleep when possible? What's the difference?
Okay. What that means is that the CPU, the big blade in the sawmill, if you will, is still turning. It's still doing its thing.
When what is happening?
When you tell the computer not to sleep,
right,
that means that processor's going full time all the time. It's watching its ports. If you have stuff coming in a modem or in a network, it's still doing its thing. The display may be slept, but the computer's still working away.
But the hard drive can go down if you put the hard drive to sleep, or does the hard drive still spin?
Yeah, but the thing is, if the computer's awake and there's a reason for the hard drive to do something, the computer will wake up that hard drive and say, okay, come on, let's get going. We got to do some stuff.
Oh, we'll have to reboot.
How does that coincide with the go to sleep on the menu? Said to sleep.
Same sleep.
Typically, that
You
means
force it.
sleep the whole system.
The whole system?
Yeah, so if I go up here, the question was, if I tell it to do this, okay, I just slept the computer, I slept the hard drive, I slept the display all at once.
So nothing would happen with that program?
It's going to be using a lot less energy.
But nothing happens.
But nothing
Okay.
happens with that program like you put on my machine, that you said it'll run in the middle of the night and clean out stuff.
Yes,
That won't work.
that will still work,
Under sleep?
yeah.
It will?
If you're doing it where the computer's awake, the display sleeps, the hard drive sleeps.
Under the energy.
Yeah.
system.
Okay. Closing out. Introduction to wikiwebs. How many of you browse the internet? Some of you didn't raise your hands. I'm worried. I'm worried. Okay, how many of you have ever been on a wiki? Oh, this is going to be a piece of cake then. All right, I may learn something. Okay, for those of you who have never been on a wiki, this is going to be a real ride for you. Okay. And again, I'm going to be very Japanese here. I'm going to apologize for the poor quality of the presentation and that my voice may go out. I'm going to thoroughly lower your expectations.
Incidentally, one of the widgets, I think, is a wiki. It's a wiki, goes to wiki port, if I remember.
Wiki widget?
Okay. Okay, this is a PowerPoint presentation, so just bear with it. Okay, introduction to wikiwebs, collaborative computing the wikiweb. How many of you have ever participated in collaborative computing, also called social computing? It's a trick question. You all have. Collaborative computing means that somehow a social group comes together and they collaborate towards a particular end. That's what a user group is. That's what a computer user group is. Collaborative computing. Okay. You're hiding your head, Bill. Why is this?
I'm listening.
Okay.
To a hard drive.
Okay. Okay. And then that's my contact information. I'm sure you're tired of seeing that. I'll get a new picture for the next time. Okay, what's a wiki? Hawaiian. If you've ever been to the big island of Hawaii, wiki is a Hawaiian word, wiki. It means quick, it means fast. Informal, as in wiki bus, aka a shuttle bus. A wiki also could be a website that allows users to easily edit any web page content with immediate results visible to all. You think about that one. That one takes a while to wrap your head around it. And the other one is software used to create such web pages. So if somebody says a wiki, they could be talking about the shuttle bus at Hawaiian International, or they could be talking about a modifiable web page, or they could be talking about the software that runs modifiable web pages. Okay. Now, I have been accused at various points in time about making stuff up. So just to prove it, I've got some pictures. You'll notice here's a bus. It says wiki on the top. You'll notice over there it's got the flowers on the side. So it's a Hawaiian. And here we have a picture. This is from Hawaiian International. Wiki shuttle to inter-island flights. Okay, so I'm not making this stuff up.
Is that why our newspapers cost so much money?
Say that again?
I ask if that's why our newspaper costs so much money.
Cox Publishing?
Ignoring that and moving right along. Okay, so we said three things. It could be a shuttle bus in Hawaii. It could be a website that's modifiable, like Wikipedia is one of those. And we'll do more on that. And again, the third thing is wiki engines, software to run a wiki. There's more than 100 different wiki applications, a wide range of technologies, PHP, Perl, Python, Java, ASP.CF, some awk and Vim script stuff. Examples of some of these implementations would be MediaWiki, Twiki, Moin, Zwiki, and Instaki, which is the one that runs on Macintosh. Okay. Now again, remember why I showed you the shuttle buses, because you're thinking I'm making these names up, but I'm not. This is the actual names of these things. Okay, interesting facts. The first wiki is the wikiweb, created by Ward Cunningham in 1995, and it's still running, and this is the URL to get to it. Now, you may be thinking, why am I talking about wikiwebs at a Macintosh user group? Let me tell you the story about how Ward Cunningham came up with this concept. He had a friend that was working at this computer company, and they had this new program. And he thought, wow, this is really neat. And he bought a machine from this computer company. It was running this program. It's called HyperCard. Okay, HyperCard. And he was really interested in the interface. And so he'd go to show this interface to people, and he had a stack, a HyperCard stack that he would use to show it to them. And it was just a stack with different facts that were on it. And he'd go to show this in demonstrations, and people would say, well, no, President Kennedy didn't become president in such and such a year. It was actually this year. And, you know, Franklin Delano Roosevelt wasn't Secretary of the Army, he was Secretary of the Navy. So he had all these, like, flashcards with facts that were wrong. And he got so tired of people focusing in on the content rather than the format, which is what he wanted to display, that he set it up so that they could modify the cards themselves in the demonstration. He'd say, okay, well, come here, fix it right now. And there was an edit button, and you could edit the card. Now, Ward Cunningham and I have something in common. We are incredibly lazy, sloth-like personalities. So when he started to get into using webs, now think about a web page. It's a lot of hard work to put up a web page. You got to figure out the format and the schema and what's going to connect to what, and then you got to get all the content written, and then you got to get it formatted correctly, et cetera, et cetera. Well, he thought, wouldn't it be nice if you start up with basically a blank page, a blank website, and you have a content area for each one of these pages. Think of it like a 3x5 card, like a HyperCard, and the web user, the person who's browsing it, can add content to it right then and there and can modify stuff that's already up there. Hey, I can put up a website, let the users put the information up. Okay, now, Ward Cunningham was using this method to propagate programming techniques among other geek-like people such as himself. So other geeks would log on to his website and they're doing something in some language. They have a programming technique they want to share, they add it to the website right then and there. Somebody else comes along, looks at it and goes, well, yeah, that's a good idea, but if you do this and this, it works better, and they'd modify it. And then he came up with the technique so that you could compare the old and the new pages, and you had some sort of version control on it. Okay, so that's 1995. Fast forward to 2005. There is a wiki called Wikipedia. Think of it as the Encyclopedia Britannica on a website. Generated content by the users. And it's got 154% traffic increase this last year. It's cited as the #1 reference source on the web. And there's, you know how for every positive thing you have a negative thing, everything has to balance out? There's another website called the Uncyclopedia that's completely filled with misinformation and utter lies. That's also out.
Politician.
Okay. Now, we're doing two things here. I'm going to point you towards some resources, some of these wikis, that are really good places to go when you're looking for information. But I also want you to sort of get your heads around this whole concept of how do you get people on the internet to coordinate and cooperate when you're never physically in contact with them? Okay, there's this whole, how do you control that social process of sharing information, and how the wiki, self-modifiable web pages, might be one way to do it. Okay, how are wikis used? Typically, collections of articles or documents. Okay, There is a wiki for people who are railroad modelers, you know, the folks that they have the entire Union Pacific. Okay. They will write an article about a particular railroad line or a particular engine in that, and instead of them emailing it to the people, they put it onto the wiki web, their wiki web, and that way it's available to anybody that's interested in that subject. And then other people will come along and read what somebody's written, and then they'll correct them, make modifications. Themed book lists. So we see wikis being used at universities by the faculty when they're doing research. You'll have faculty members going out to a wiki and saying, okay, you're interested in, let's see, amorphic semiconductors, you know, a la Helmut Frisch. And they'll say, okay, did you see this article that so-and-so wrote? So they'll modify their book lists, their bibliographies. Okay, very interesting. Now remember, because this is internet, that faculty member doesn't have to be in this country. They just have to be on the internet, and they can add or subtract to the book list. Collections of shared materials. Frequently asked questions on a topic. There's a wiki that I go to about Macintosh servers, where people will put up a question on such and such a problem, and then other people will come in with what their workarounds are. And it's constantly getting modified. You know, as people come to it and they have information that they're sharing or adding. Collaborative art projects, poetry. Poetry collections being submitted to a wiki web. That gets interesting. And artwork, photography, all sorts of things. How many of you are familiar with the website Flickr, where people can share their photos? Anyway, this is some of the other stuff that's going on. And again, it's social collaboration and cooperation via the internet. Okay. Editing policies or other documents, scholarly communication. Okay, so those are some of the ways that they're being used. I have seen wikis being used at the federal level, at policy agencies when they're writing regulations. So instead of having these Word documents that they keep emailing to each other, they'll basically have the document up on a wiki. It would be a secure wiki where you have to have a login to get to it. And then they'll be making comments and such, annotating the code, making comments, working it out that way. Okay, advantages of a wiki web. Anyone can edit the content that's up there. Okay. No HTML is required. In other words, it comes up with a screen, you click the edit button, it comes up with a screen, you just type your stuff in, it adds it. Or it comes up with a screen with the current content and you can modify it. And then you click save and you're done. You don't have to know how to code. Changes are immediate. Boom, it's now added to it. Pages and links are instant and automatic. Because again, with a wiki, you can have hyperlinks. So if you have an article about social computing, there might be a link pointing towards collaborative computing, which is a slightly different topic, or open source software. So it would take you to another page where there's content about open source software or collaborative computing. No one knows everything, but everyone knows something. That's what makes this user group run. Okay? You get enough people together, somebody's going to know the answer to the question, or they're going to have that insight about the knowledge. It's like, I could probably throw a question out in this room and ask something about airframes, or crystallography, or Plato, uranium hexafluoride, and you may think, there's nobody in this room that's going to know it. And you know what? We probably have somebody who knows something about it. And again, if you put enough something about it together, you get a substantial body of information. Again, another concept that makes this user group work. Many hands make light work. Edits are easy to view and track. And wikis use web standards.
Bill?
Yeah.
Is there a read versus a write capability? too many changes can also be destructive? In some programs, you have people who are authorized to read, other programs
Right.
have capability of read and write.
As wikis have become more and more sophisticated, the methods of controlling the content change has become more and more sophisticated. And it brings up the problem of vandalism, okay? If any user can modify content, what's to stop somebody from going up and putting up an ad for their, pharmaceutical, et cetera, spam, putting spam on it? And that's one of the problems with wikis. And that's why wikis generally have a organizing board that runs the wiki. And when it gets large enough, you'll have vetting committees so that changes are submitted, they're available for people to read, but they don't become part of the accepted body of knowledge until the committee vets it. Did I sort of explain, answer your question? Okay, so here we go. Disadvantages. Disadvantages are very similar to the advantages. Anyone can edit. So, example, on Wikipedia, the article about the Holocaust gets vandalized like every day. You'll have somebody go in and they'll change this, they'll change that. Misinformation may not get fixed immediately. Unfamiliar style. Okay. They'll add content that, even though your engine should be able to handle any content, they may put stuff in deliberately in a format that's going to screw up the wiki. Mostly text, few whistles and bells. Okay, wikis tend to be mainly text websites, not video, not audio, not graphics. Those that do have a lot of graphic content, the main reason why they try and curtail that or contain it is copyright restrictions, more than anything else. Authority of authors can be questionable. Fictional entries and citation can be challenging. You know, how do you cite this if you're in a research document? Fictional entries, that also includes where people do a form of cyber squatting. They take over a section of the wiki, and then they have links to other sections that they have. They sort of wall it off so it's its own standalone thing. There's a term for it, I have it in the glossary. Okay, so those are some of the disadvantages. So it's a command and control question. Okay, when do wikis succeed? When there is a true sense, a feeling of common ownership. Okay, and people really care about this thing. Small volunteer groups are dedicated. Cream rises to the top. Wikis generate respectful culture of knowledge, and discourse is courteous. So, generally, a wiki will thrive and prosper when you have people who disagree but are very respectful in how they disagree. And there's a method of managing that whole question of whether content is acceptable or not. When do wikis fail? They fail when spam shows up on the pages, because you're not going to go to a wiki as a resource site if you click on the page on Bismarck, General Bismarck of Germany, and instead you get this ad for some sort of pharmaceutical comes up, and you go, what happened to Bismarck? Disagreements occur. That's one of the major fails of a wiki. There's no mechanism to handle disagreements. Okay. Now again, remember, we're talking not technological problems, but sociological problems. Okay? How do you manage disagreements, conflicts with people? Entries and threads get off topic. You've got a wiki that's devoted to programming, PHP programming, and all of a sudden, 90% of the content is about model railroading, or collecting Barbie dolls, or, again, it loses its focus. If you lose your focus, you lose your sense of mission, and you aren't getting where you need to go. Fictional subjects are taken as truth. Again, there's got to be some sort of reality basis there. Unless you're going to the unencyclopedia, in which case fictional subjects and untruth is what makes that thing work. And then if you feel a sense of personal ownership over your writing, wikis are not for you. Okay, if you're one of these people that's very anal retentive about your writing, you don't want anybody to modify it, to edit it, to correct it. Because remember, every user, every person who goes to a wiki is theoretically, potentially, someone who's going to edit your work, edit your writing, modify it. So you have to be very much in this more of a Japanese type mode where, you know, it's the entire village working together. Less I, more us. And lastly, pages not maintained may disappear. Okay, so there's got to be some maintenance occurring here on a wiki. In other words, you can't be an absentee landlord of a wiki. You have to be actively involved in the management of your wiki. Yes?
This takes a lot of resources, and resources cost money. Where does this money come from?
The people who typically put up wikis feel very strongly about that particular topic area, and they reach into their pocket and they pay for the hosting fees.
So there's no fees associated for the user at all?
Correct. Correct. And we'll see that, if I have enough time here, we'll see that in some of the wikis that are out there. So moving right ahead, examples of wikis. I'm just going to blow through these real quick. Wiki Encyclopedia, I'm just going to focus on this one and then I'll probably blow through the other examples. It's a free online encyclopedia with over 718,000 topics in English. Actually, that's wrong. It's now over 1 million. 350,000 people have contributed to the content on Wikipedia. 25 languages, it's actually 32 languages now. 2 million entries, it's 2.5 million entries. 5 times more popular than Google News, Yahoo News, or the BBC in terms of hits. And then there's some spin-offs of this. There's Wiki News, which is sort of like your very own Associated Press, with people putting up what they think is news. Wiki Books, where people are either putting up books that are no longer, books that are now in the public domain, or books that they have written and they're releasing under the Creative Commons copyright. Okay, and then I'm going to, time permitting, I'm going to get out on the web and show you a couple of these. In terms of resources, I just want to run through this stuff real quick, and it's all in the notes. Web resources, SwitchWiki is a catalog of wikis. Okay, so if you want to find wikis of various topics, that's where you would go. And then Ward Cunningham has a wiki design principle website. You can go out there and it's got the principles of wiki design. So those are web resources. Print resources, 2 books. WikiWeb collaboration by Ebersbach, and then Ward Cunningham has one, the WikiWay, collaborating and sharing the internet.
Can you go back one time to previous?
Sure. Shift, return, oop, okay. Escape. Okay, Switchy Wiki, or the next one? Okay. Here, Bill, you didn't get a copy of the notes here, that way you don't have to write it. Thank you. Okay, I'm still struggling with how many copies to make of the handout notes. I only made 30 this time, so I'm assuming I should make more than that next time. Okay. All right, moving ahead. This is the print resources. And then Wiki Farms. These are places that host other wikis. So there's Peanut Butter Wiki, Seed Wiki, Wiki Cities, Wikipedia, WikiHost, and Wikispaces. So if you want to look for more wikis, these are places you can go look for them. Wiki Farms. And then let me just blow through glossary real quick. A wiki farm is a website that hosts wikis, so you don't have to download, install, or host anything on your own server, or worry about the programming end of creating a wiki. So if you want to run a wiki, this is where you would host it, at a wiki farm. Okay. A wiki gnome is an anonymous poster who bats cleanup, tirelessly making minor edits. So you have the grammar police. There's some people I've met that are spelling and grammar police, and they go on these wikis and they go through and they change comma here, misspelled word, correct that word, move this, move that. So they're not really concerned about the overall content, but whether it's grammatically correct, is the spelling correct. And we need people like that. And then there's wiki squatting, which is using a wiki as free personal web space. That's again where somebody would come in, edit a wiki page, create a link to another page, and they basically take over the whole space for their own use. Wiki tags are the elements that add formatting, such as bold, italics, and that. Wikipedian is an avid contributor to Wikipedia. A sandbox is a wiki that's used for testing purposes. Okay, you want to try to do a trial concept on your own intranet for a wiki for handling some sort of information, it'd be called a sandbox. You're playing in the sandbox. An orphan page is an abandoned page, often with no links, because things can get unlinked. So you got this page, it's not linked to anything, nobody can get to it, nobody can get from it, it's just out there. A walled garden, a series of wiki pages that link only to one another. In the same way that you have people that write computer viruses, you have people that go into wikis and they screw things up. It's part of the human nature. You have the destructive and the constructive elements. And references, all the ones that are C2, that's all Ward Cunningham's original thing, and he's got the list of wiki engines that are available, and a wiki history where you can verify that he actually did get this idea from playing with HyperCard, and then wikiweb, which is primarily for programmer types. And then Wikipedia, Moin, Quickie, Wikipedia SourceForge.net. These are websites where you can go out and you can get to the software that you would use to run a wiki. Okay. Wiki demo time permitted. Okay, let me see where I am in terms of time. 11:43. Okay. We can handle questions now, or we can just keep plowing through and go see some wikis.
One quick question.
Okay.
How do they do the links?
Say again?
How is it when you put in some information, it automatically links instead of doing tag ahref?
The software does it. You
The
have a
software
link
does-
button that you click, and then it comes up with a whole bunch of stuff,
Okay.
and then you select the thing that it's supposed to link to.
That's the thing I didn't understand.
And that'll vary slightly from one wiki web page from another. It depends on the type of engine that they're running
Okay.
and how sophisticated their programming is. Okay, now, I'm going to just go ahead and close down PowerPoint, and I'm going to fire up Safari. Okay, somehow I lost my, let me relink to Good Shepherd here. Okay, now I got my web access again. WIKI, Wiki. So I just did a Google search for Wiki. 220 million. Okay. So we're going to start with main page of Wikipedia. Now, when I went to research this article, the first thing that I did, of course, was to go to Wikipedia and look up what it said about Wiki. So I'm going to recreate that. Now, this is the front page of Wikipedia. Okay, and that's their logo up there in the corner, the free encyclopedia. All right, let's say I'm interested in something like wikis. I would go into my search box and I would type in wiki, then I would click the go button. Okay, now here's the page on Wiki. So it's like going to Encyclopedia, Encyclopedia Britannica. Except you don't have to go, okay, volume number 26, pull it off the shelf. A wiki, and then it has all the different pronunciations, according to Ward Cunningham, is a group of web pages that allow users to add content as on an internet forum, but also permits others, often completely unrestricted, to edit the content. The term wiki also refers to the collaborative software, Wiki Engine, used to create such a website. So, basically, my presentation. And then, in essence, the wiki is merely a vast simplification of the process of creating HTML pages, so it goes on and on. Now, let's scroll down here a little bit. And I want you to notice something. See all these things in blue? If I click on them, it's a hyperlink, and it takes me to another page in Wikipedia with more things. So where it says the wikiweb is named after the wiki line of Chance R52 buses. It's like, wow, more detail than I needed. In Honolulu International Airport, if I click there, it'll then take me to a thing about Honolulu Airport, and they have a picture of a wiki there. And then here, this is where you have your content outline. All right, now this is for all the stuff that follows. Key characteristics of a wiki, controlling changes, vandalism, history of wikis, wiki communities, references, see also, and external links. Okay, so this is an unbelievable resource in and of itself. And you can see the sort of detail you get, on and on and on. Now notice, we have these little buttons off to the side, edit. Let's take this one here, edit. I click on the edit button. I have a slow connection here. Now, they took that section of text that we were looking at, and now I can go in there and I can edit that page. All right? And then I can do a show preview to see if it looks right. And then I can say show changes. That'll show me other changes that have happened before, other people have done to that page. And then when I'm ready, I can say save page. Now, with Wikipedia, I'm getting looks of disbelief here.
Why would I want to do that? Yeah, how do you know what's real, what's not real?
Okay. You're Bill Herrick. I know this is a scary concept, but just go ahead. You're Bill Herrick. And you're on Wikipedia, and you're reading an article about user groups. And you go, they don't have anything about Macintosh user groups. So I go, oh, let's add a content to it. Macintosh user groups, not just computer user groups, but Macintosh user groups. And then I'll write in something there about some of the user groups I know. Washington Apple Pie, TMG Dayton, Apple Dayton, Berkeley Macintosh user group, and then I submit it, it ends up with the content. Then later on, somebody else comes in, and they were one of the founding members of Washington Apple Pie, and they read what I wrote, and we go, well, that's not quite right, because it wasn't 1982 that they were founded, it was 1972. Okay, and then they'll change the fact, they'll change the content. And with Wikipedia, you actually have a committee that looks at the changes before they become part of the standard knowledge, and they vet whether a change is appropriate or not. Very similar to the way that open source software, like Linux, when they're going to rev out a new kernel, they have a committee of people that look at all of the possible changes and they decide what's going to go into the kernel and what isn't going to go into the kernel.
So when you make the change, it doesn't go on the site?
With Wikipedia, it's displayed, but it doesn't become permanent until they approve it.
What keeps idiots that think they know it all from going in and putting anything in there?
Absolutely nothing.
With goodwill, but I mean...
Absolutely nothing. Now
what kind of credibility can you have with what you read?
That's the problem that humanity has had from day one. I mean, you end up with one of these physics professors who says, 1902, we've learned all the physics that there is to know. There's nothing more to learn. I mean, we're at the end of history. We got it all. Yes?
And forgive me, Bill, but I have actually pulled complete total inaccuracies out of the newspaper.
Yeah.
So you always have to vet everything you learn
Yeah.
with more than one source. So you might use Wikipedia to get a direction, find something out. If it looks dubious, go to a scholarly resource and get it backed up.
But you know, something I've learned about human beings, like even in this user group, people are very reticent to present themselves as an expert in most cases. Okay? It's only when you're really comfortable with something that you will present yourself as an expert. Okay? Granted, there are the idiots who don't know that they don't know. But that's... Wikipedia didn't exist 5 years ago. All of this stuff has occurred over 5 years. And remember, it's not just in English, it's in 32 different languages. So you have people who may not be changing the content, but they may be translating it into another language. Okay? A collaborative process, 300 and something thousand people. Okay? I mean, wow. If you can get 300,000 people to coordinate on a project, and they're not getting paid, I mean, that's a social phenomenon, I think. Okay? All right. Let me show you another one here. I got to do a quick search. 43 folders. Most of you probably don't know, but I'm one of those getting things done meme people, so you got to be careful when you talk to me about organizing things. I should have used a different browser. Safari is really slow on a lot of this stuff. Okay, this is a web page run by Merlin Mann. 43 folders. It's about a way of organizing yourself called GTD, Getting Things Done. It's all based on a book written by a fellow by the name of David Allen. There is a wiki associated to this web page. So you got this regular web page. Let's see, I got to see where he's got it here now. I probably should have put wiki in there instead. Let me do that instead. Okay, let me just add up here on my search. 43 folder wiki. Okay. So you've got this page, 43 folders, and now that's a normal web page, Merlin Mann. It's a blog. Okay, it's a web blog. And he's emoting and talking about the stuff he's interested in and pointing you to other people. But he also has a wiki associated with it. Okay, where people can add their thoughts about what's the best way to be efficient in terms of handling your life and the activities you need to do. So this is a wikiweb for 43 folders, which we've conceived as a place to explore and expand on the ideas discussed on the 43 folder site. Productivity and time management, Mac OS X software, life hacks and other small heuristics, cool tools, and productivity porn, and other cool ideas. So let's see. Let's click on OS X software. Okay. Articles and entries, external links. So we've got these various things here. OS X inventories, great software and setup inventories, as well as smart tips for workflow and productivity hacks. Categories of Macintosh software, categories of Unix software, dashboard widgets, Spotlight, and then all these external links. This is a place for folks who are come up with their own little tricks on how they keep themselves motivated or productive to share it with other people. Within this particular meme of 43 folders and getting things done. Let's look for another one here. Let's do another wiki. So a wiki doesn't have to be standalone. It can be added onto a website that already exists. But it's again a way to solicit other people to give their comments in that. Let's see. Here's one. Emacs Wiki. Emacs is a Unix software program. Wait for it to load. Okay. So, dedicated to documenting and discussing Emacs and XEmacs. This is Unix software. They're editors. You know, there's that old thing about the
you know, do you use VI or do you use Emacs? You pick the language you want to discuss in, and then you can get in there and it will have all these various things about this particular program. We'll go to the site manager. And it's taking a while to get there. Oh, come on. It's not that slow of a connection. Probably that slow of a server. Okay, it doesn't matter. We'll go back to the previous site. Okay, let's find something else here. Oh, yeah, let's do something like Wiki Dictionary. Wiki Dictionary. Put them both in. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. I want that one. Main page, Wiktionary. I never know where to, you know, put the wiki and when to do the rest of the word. Here we go. Okay, if you're a employee of the Oxford English Dictionary, this is going to drive you crazy. It's a Wiktionary, a dictionary created by people in a wiki. So let's put a word in here. Let's see, I don't know, give me something that we want to look up.
Yeah.
Apple? Okay. A-P-P-L-E. It helps if I click in the search box first. Go, and it's now going out to Wiktionary. So it's a interactive dictionary that's been created by all these people. Okay, we've got the Old English, pronunciation, English, entomology, pronunciation, noun, synonym, translations to be checked. So there's, you know, that element of other things that have been put in. And they've got a picture of one. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and see what else it says. Okay, so under noun it says, a tree of the genus Pyrus malus, the apple tree, a fruit produced by an apple tree, the wood of the apple tree, in plural Cockney rhyming slang short for apples and pears, and then baseball slang, an 1800s baseball term meaning the ball. Okay, and then we have all of these translations. Let's see if there's anything in. And then fruit. So we have translations into different languages here.
Is there any reason that would be superior to going to just dictionary.com?
What if it's, what if what you're looking for is a computer slang term? You're not going to find that in a dictionary.com, but there's a wiki for computer slang. You know, for things that, I'm trying to think of an example. RTFM, let's see.
Could use that.
RTFM, RTFM, you know, read the manual. What? RTFM, read the.
Freaking manual.
There's another one, look it up on Google.
So, for example, if you looked up in the dictionary, so for example, if you looked up rip in the dictionary, you'd see tearing a piece of paper.
Right.
If you looked up rip in here, it would also talk about.
Well, let's see what it says. RIP, R-I-P?
Something like that.
Okay, is it going to come up with raster image processor? I don't know. Well, let's see.
Talk about removing.
It may or may not. Now, again, you know, many of you are questioning the whole idea of the validity of the information. That's good. Always question the sources of the information. Okay, let's see. It came up with verb to rip and to show a special skill in sports such as surfing. So it doesn't have that. But let's look for, let's see, let me do this. RTFM. Now, Wikipedia would have a term like RTFM in it. Or F-rate is another one. Yeah, let me do F-rate. I guess maybe it's not F-rate. Let me think.
IANAL.
Say again?
IANAL.
I-A-M-A-L?
N.
Nancy.
I-A-N-A.
Okay. I-N-M-A-L?
I-A-N-A-L.
Okay, okay. And there is a, I am not a lawyer. I didn't know that one.
I'm not a lawyer.
Or T-I-N-L-A, this is not legal advice. Or other variations are. Very often, you know, in a forum exchange, I'll see acronyms being used and I go, yeah, WTF. What could that mean? And I don't quite understand where it fits in the thing. And I'll just go to Wikipedia, plug it in, and then I go, oh, okay.
OMG, WTF.
Yeah, okay. So there are uses for these things. Let me try Wikibooks, see if Wikibooks is on. Because that's almost like publishing on the web. And main page Wikibooks. I want to communicate two things to you, because we're at the end of our time. The first one is the idea of this technology, of being able to somehow harness the power of the internet, the idea of 1,000 monkeys typing, producing Shakespeare. Okay, and the other thing is that there are these resources which are fairly reliable, such as Wikipedia, Wikibooks, etc. Collection of open content books that anyone can edit. So these are sort of like, think of it as collaborations of many people writing a story.
Open source novel.
Yeah, open source novels. Open source novels. And there's all sorts of stuff going on here. Some of these are non-fiction books, some of these are fiction books. It's an interesting concept. Okay, so anyway, just to recap here. If you're on a wiki website, if you have a particular interest in your life, you might want to see if there is a wiki in existence that reflects that interest that you might be able to either use as a resource or collaborate with.